You ate a normal meal. An hour later, your stomach looks like you swallowed a basketball. The bloating is so bad you have to unbutton your jeans. The gas is relentless. And the worst part? You have no idea why. Here is what your doctor will never tell you: that chronic bloating, trapped gas, and sluggish digestion are not random. They are not aging. And they are absolutely not solved by the expensive enzyme pills sitting in your cabinet right now. The fix was perfected thousands of years ago by people who had no labs, no supplements, and no pharmaceutical industry, and it lived in their kitchens. Modern clinical science has spent decades and billions of dollars arriving at the exact same conclusion our ancestors reached through survival. Fermentation does not just preserve food, it fundamentally rebuilds the biochemical machinery of your gut. Stay with me, because number 4 on this list contains a rare, highly resilient yeast strain that survives stomach acid far better than any standard probiotic pill to halt chronic abdominal distension. And number 10 features a sacred traditional food with a unique class of protective metabolites that clinical trials show can physically repair your gut barrier and shut down systemic inflammation at the root. Subscribe to Green Discovery right now if you're serious about improving your gut health naturally. And tell me in the comments, how long have you been dealing with digestive issues? Whether it's bloating, gas, or poor digestion, I'd love to hear your story. I read every single comment. Here are 10 extraordinary fermented foods to completely revitalize poor digestion, ranked from remarkable to absolutely life-changing. Number 1. Traditional milk kefir. For over thousands of years, nomadic shepherds in the Caucasus Mountains carried fresh milk inside goatskin pouches, inadvertently discovering an extraordinary cellular transformation. What they created was kefir, a deeply tart, effervescent beverage fermented by a complex symbiotic matrix of bacteria and yeasts known as kefir grains. The surprising detail most modern consumers overlook is that standard commercial yogurt typically contains only 4 to 6 strains of transient bacteria. Traditional milk kefir, however, delivers up to 61 distinct bacterial and fungal strains, making it exponentially more potent for re-establishing a damaged microbiome. From a scientific mechanism perspective, kefir is an absolute powerhouse for correcting functional constipation and reducing severe abdominal distension. Clinical trials published in medical journals reveal that kefir contains key bioactive peptides and exogenous enzymes that rapidly accelerate gastric emptying. When you drink authentic kefir, these organisms colonize the colon, producing short-chain fatty acids like acetate and butyrate. These compounds nourish the colonocytes, fuel the gut lining, and regulate the muscular contractions of your intestines, eliminating the sluggish transit times that trigger trapped gas and painful bloating. And it gets better. Clinical evidence shows that fermented dairy products like kefir specifically alleviate abdominal pain and flatulence by improving lactose digestion. The microbes in kefir actually consume the lactose sugar during fermentation, meaning even lactose-intolerant individuals can typically digest it completely stress-free. Traditional use: drink 1 cup, approximately 240 milliliters of raw, unflavored milk kefir first thing in the morning on an empty stomach to prime your digestive tract for the day's meals. Number 2. Authentic sauerkraut. Long before modern refrigeration, European seafaring captains, including Captain James Cook, packed wooden barrels tightly with salted shredded cabbage to prevent scurvy and digestive sickness during years at sea. This simple preservation process yielded sauerkraut, a crisp, sour superfood driven entirely by wild lactic acid fermentation. The surprising detail here lies in the sheer volume of life contained on a single cabbage leaf. When properly fermented with unrefined salt, A single serving of raw sauerkraut can deliver trillions of live lactobacillus bacteria, completely outperforming high-priced synthetic supplements. The scientific mechanism of sauerkraut centers around its unique protective metabolites that actively maintain the intestinal barrier. A groundbreaking study analyzing the specific pathways of sauerkraut discovered that during fermentation, the bacteria produce high concentrations of a compound called indole 3-carbinol and specific lactic acid variants. These metabolites act directly on the aryl hydrocarbon receptors in your gut lining. This activation triggers the repair of tight junctions between intestinal cells, effectively closing the microscopic gaps that cause leaky gut syndrome and subsequent systemic inflammation. Furthermore, sauerkraut is packed with natural digestive enzymes that assist your stomach in breaking down dense proteins. Escalating its benefits further, sauerkraut is rich in sulfur-containing compounds like glucosinolates, which exhibit potent antimicrobial properties against harmful gut pathogens like Helicobacter pylori, ensuring that beneficial bacteria can reclaim territory along your digestive tract. Traditional use: consume 2 tablespoons, approximately 30 grams, of raw, unpasteurized sauerkraut immediately before your largest meal of the day to stimulate stomach acid and optimize nutrient absorption. Number 3. Traditional miso. In the ancient monasteries of Japan, Buddhist monks perfected the art of fermenting soybeans, barley, and rice with a specialized starter culture known as Aspergillus oryza, or koji. The result was miso, a thick, deeply savory paste that has served as the foundational bedrock of Japanese longevity for centuries. The surprising detail that many fail to realize is that miso is not merely a flavoring agent. It is a live, active biological catalyst that transforms whatever food it touches into a highly bioavailable medicine. The scientific mechanism of traditional miso centers on its dense concentration of live, stable enzymes. Miso paste is naturally packed with proteases, amylases, and lipases, the exact enzymes your pancreas produces to digest food. As detailed by nutritional researchers, the natural enzymes in miso soup effectively break down complex proteins and heavy carbohydrates into easily absorbable amino acids and simple sugars before they reach the colon. This pre-digestive action takes a massive burden off a weak, compromised pancreas and stomach. If you suffer from severe upper abdominal bloating and fullness within 30 minutes of eating, it is often a sign of insufficient enzyme production. Miso solves this by stepping in to do the heavy lifting, ensuring that undigested food particles do not sit stagnant in your intestinal tract to rot and fuel gas-producing pathogenic bacteria. The escalating payoff of long-term miso consumption is its ability to alkalize the digestive tract and significantly reduce instances of acid reflux and chronic gastric inflammation. Traditional use: whisk 1 tablespoon, approximately 15 grams, of organic, unpasteurized white or red miso paste into a cup of warm water, ensuring it is below 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius to preserve the live enzymes, and drink as a soothing digestive tonic between lunch and dinner. Number 4. Authentic kombucha. Hailing from ancient Manchuria and referred to as the immortal health elixir, kombucha is a sparkling, tart beverage produced by fermenting sweetened black or green tea with a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast, famously known as a SCOBY. The surprising detail that distinguishes traditional kombucha from modern carbonated sodas is its highly complex matrix of organic acids, particularly glucuronic acid and acetic acid. The scientific mechanism behind kombucha's digestive mastery lies in its ability to optimize stomach pH and target bloating directly at the source. Many people assume bloating is caused by too much stomach acid,
but it is frequently caused by hypochlorhydria, too little stomach acid, which prevents food from being thoroughly broken down. Kombucha delivers high amounts of acetic acid, which gently lowers gastric pH, assisting the stomach in activating pepsin, the enzyme required to digest proteins. Furthermore, traditional kombucha contains a highly resilient beneficial yeast strain called Saccharomyces boulardii. Unlike fragile bacterial probiotics, this beneficial yeast is completely immune to traditional antibiotics and highly resistant to stomach acid, allowing it to migrate deep into the digestive tract.
Once there, it actively outcompetes opportunistic yeasts like Candida albicans, which are primary culprits behind sugar cravings, chronic gas, and severe abdominal distension. The escalating payoff of kombucha is its profound liver detoxifying capability. The glucuronic acid binds to environmental toxins in the gut, escorting them safely out of the body before they can damage your microbiome. Traditional use: drink 4 ounces, approximately 120 milliliters of raw, low-sugar kombucha, roughly 15 minutes before lunch to stimulate gastric juices and prevent post-meal sluggishness. Number 5. Traditional kimchi. Deeply rooted in Korean culinary heritage, kimchi is a spicy, deeply aromatic fermented vegetable dish primarily composed of napa cabbage, radishes, garlic, ginger, and red pepper flakes. Traditionally buried underground in large earthenware vessels called ongi, kimchi undergoes a complex, low-temperature fermentation dominated by Luanosticus and Lactobacillus species. The surprising detail about kimchi is how rapidly its live cultures can alter human biology. The scientific mechanism of this functional superfood was explicitly highlighted in a recent clinical trial. The impact of daily kimchi consumption pilot study reported that daily intake of authentic kimchi yielded significant reductions in bloating, abdominal discomfort, and systemic inflammatory markers. The raw synergy of garlic, ginger, and red pepper, fermented alongside cabbage, creates a highly concentrated delivery system for capsaicin and gingerols. These compounds act as potent natural prokinetics, stimulating the migrating motor complex in your small intestine. The MMC is the internal sweeping mechanism that clears out residual food and bacteria during fasting periods. When this mechanism fails, bacteria stall in the small bowel, leading to a severe condition known as small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or SIBO. Kimchi's active components keep this muscular wave moving efficiently, preventing the stagnant bacterial fermentation that causes immediate post-meal bloating. To escalate its benefits further, the prebiotic fibers within the cabbage act as structural food for your existing indigenous beneficial bacteria, creating a compounding effect that rapidly boosts overall microbiome diversity. Traditional use: add a small side of 1/4 cup, approximately 40 grams, of cold, traditional kimchi to your evening dinner as a functional condiment to support overnight digestion. Number 6. Authentic tempeh. Originating on the island of Java in Indonesia, tempeh represents a brilliant ancestral approach to unlocking the dense nutrition of legumes. Unlike tofu, which is merely coagulated soy milk, tempeh is created by a solid-state fermentation process using a beneficial wild fungus called Rhizopus oligosporus, which knits whole soybeans into a compact, dense cake. The surprising detail that shocks many nutritional enthusiasts is how radically different tempeh is from tofu regarding gut health. When comparing the two, tempeh possesses vastly superior prebiotic fiber and live probiotic content due to this unique fungal fermentation process. The scientific mechanism behind tempeh's digestive success lies in its absolute destruction of anti-nutrients. Raw soybeans are naturally loaded with phytic acid, lectins, and trypsin inhibitors, compounds that bind to human digestive enzymes, block protein absorption, and cause severe intestinal gas and bloating in millions of people. However, the mycelium of the rhizopus fungus completely breaks down these troublesome anti-nutrients during the 48-hour fermentation window. Furthermore, the high concentration of structural prebiotic fibers remains intact.
These fibers travel completely intact to the lower gastrointestinal tract, where they serve as the ultimate fuel source for bifidobacteria. As these bacteria feast on tempeh's prebiotics, they produce abundant short-chain fatty acids that physically repair and strengthen the gut lining, dramatically reducing long-term gut permeability and improving chronic digestive habits. Traditional use: slice 3 ounces, approximately 85 grams, of authentic tempeh thinly, marinate in a splash of tamari and ginger, and pan-sear lightly in coconut oil for a gut-healthy, high-protein lunch option.
Number 7. Traditional plain yogurt. Dating back to 5000 BC in ancient Mesopotamia, yogurt is perhaps the world's most widely recognized fermented dairy product. It is produced by inoculating fresh milk with specific thermophilic lactic acid cultures, primarily Lactobacillus bulgaricus and Streptococcus thermophilus. The surprising detail that most modern consumers get wrong is purchasing yogurt labeled as low-fat or heavily flavored with fruit preparations. These products are packed with refined sugars and artificial thickeners that actively feed inflammatory yeast and pathogens, completely neutralizing any health benefits. To heal your gut, the yogurt must be strictly plain, full-fat, and entirely unpasteurized after fermentation.
The scientific mechanism of authentic yogurt centers around its ability to continuously replenish beneficial baseline bacteria to effectively manage chronic digestive habits. Clinical evidence from Oxford Academic analyzes how fermented dairy products specifically alleviate abdominal pain, flatulence, and irregular bowel movements. The active lactobacillus strains in traditional yogurt produce high amounts of lactic acid, which creates a protective, acidic microenvironment within the small intestine. This optimal acidity acts as a natural shield, making it incredibly difficult for pathogenic bacteria like Salmonella or E. coli to colonize your system. Escalating its benefits further, full-fat pasture-raised yogurt contains naturally occurring conjugated linoleic acid, a specialized fatty acid that clinical studies show exerts a powerful anti-inflammatory effect directly on the mucosal tissue of the gut wall. Traditional use: enjoy half a cup, approximately 120 grams, of organic, grass-fed plain Greek or traditional yogurt topped with a pinch of ground Ceylon cinnamon as a morning digestive ritual. Number 8. Real kvass. Originating in Eastern Europe centuries ago, kvass is a traditional fermented beverage typically crafted from ancestral rye bread or deeply earthy red beets, pure water, and unrefined sea salt. The result is a deeply therapeutic, salty, and sour elixir running over with active enzymes and vital nutrients. The surprising detail about beet kvass is its unique double-action capability. It is one of the very few fermented foods that simultaneously treats both the liver and the lower digestive tract. The scientific mechanism of beet kvass relies heavily on a specialized nutrient called betaine, combined with dense concentrations of lactic acid bacteria. Betaine is a powerful methyl donor that actively stimulates the liver to produce bile, while also thinning the bile so it can flow freely through the gallbladder and into the duodenum. Bile is your body's natural internal laxative and its most potent antimicrobial fluid. If your bile flow is sluggish or thick, fat digestion stalls completely, leading to severe flatulence, greasy stools, and intense bloating in the upper intestines. By drinking kvass, you stimulate a robust surge of clean bile precisely when your body needs it to emulsify fats and sanitize the small bowel, preventing pathogenic overgrowth. The escalating payoff of real kvass is its exceptionally high potassium and antioxidant profile, which rapidly draws down inflammation along the entire length of the gastrointestinal tract. Traditional use: drink 2 ounces, approximately 60 milliliters, of raw beet kvass twice daily, once before breakfast and once before dinner, to permanently optimize bioflow and enhance systemic detoxification.
Number 9. Traditional apple cider vinegar. While not a traditional food you chew, raw apple cider vinegar with the mother is a fundamental cornerstone of ancestral digestive health. Created through a dual fermentation process where wild yeasts first convert apple sugars into alcohol, and acetobacter bacteria subsequently convert that alcohol into acetic acid, this raw vinegar remains entirely unfiltered and unpasteurized. The surprising detail most people miss is that the mother is not a structural defect. It is a complex, floating cloud of beneficial bacteria, cellulose, and highly active enzymes that holds the true healing power of the liquid.
The scientific mechanism of raw apple cider vinegar is deeply rooted in its profound chemical impact on stomach acid dynamics. The majority of individuals suffering from chronic bloating and acid reflux are operating with highly insufficient levels of hydrochloric acid. When stomach acid is low, the esophageal sphincter fails to close tightly, allowing tiny amounts of acid to escape upward while the food below sits completely undigested, fermenting and producing gas that expands your stomach.
The high concentration of acetic acid in raw ACV instantly signals the stomach to drop its internal pH, triggering the closure of the esophageal sphincter, while simultaneously activating pepsin to aggressively dismantle incoming proteins. The escalating payoff is that this optimized acidic environment acts as a chemical gatekeeper, destroying incoming pathogens on your food before they can ever reach your delicate intestines to cause dysbiosis. Traditional use: dilute 1 tablespoon, approximately 15 milliliters, of raw, unfiltered apple cider vinegar into 4 ounces of warm water and drink through a straw exactly 10 minutes before your largest meals. Number 10. Authentic natto. And here we are, number 10, the ancient superfood I saved for last because its biological complexity is absolutely unparalleled. Hailing from Japan, natto consists of whole soybeans fermented with a highly specialized ancient bacterial strain known as Bacillus subtilis var. Natto. It is famous for its powerful, pungent aroma and its deeply stringy, mucilaginous texture. The surprising detail that sets natto completely apart from every other fermented food on Earth is its unmatched density of vitamin K2, specifically the menaquinone 7 variant, and a unique fibrinolytic enzyme called nattokinase. The scientific mechanism of authentic natto represents the absolute pinnacle of intestinal barrier repair and vascular gut support. Bacillus subtilis is a spore-forming bacterium, meaning it possesses an incredibly tough, naturally protective outer shell. This unique structural shield allows the probiotic to pass through the intense burning acid of the human stomach completely unharmed, arriving at the large intestine with 100% viability. Once settled in the colon, it produces high levels of unique protective metabolites that maintain the structural integrity of the intestinal barrier. Furthermore, the high levels of vitamin K2 delivered by natto act as a profound biological conductor, regulating calcium metabolism and suppressing systemic inflammatory pathways within the gut's mucosal lining. Nattokinase actively dissolves microclots in the microscopic blood vessels that feed your intestinal wall, optimizing blood flow and tissue regeneration throughout your entire digestive tract. The escalating payoff of incorporating natto into your routine is its unparalleled ability to suppress chronic gut inflammation, permanently reverse leaky gut syndrome, and restore a deeply resilient, highly diverse internal ecosystem. Traditional use: consume one small container, approximate 40 to 50 grams of cold, authentic natto, whipped vigorously with a splash of tamari once or twice a week alongside a bowl of steamed rice. I want to hear from you directly. Are you team kefir or team sauerkraut? Which of these ancestral foods are you going to bring into your kitchen this week? Drop your answer in the comments section below. I read and reply to every single comment myself. If you found real value in this deeply researched breakdown, please hit that subscribe button, ring the notification bell, and share this video with someone you love who is struggling with their health. Thank you for standing with us here at Green Discovery. Keep nourishing your body, stay truly self-sufficient, and we will see you in the very next video.